In a fictional city called Falkenheim, Nazi Germany is starting to fall apart. There, a 10-year-old boy named Jojo lives. He's so brainwashed by Nazi ideas that he even makes Hitler his imaginary best friend. You're watching CineDigest, and this is Movie Recapped. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more awesome stories. But the funny thing is, Jojo can't even tie his own shoes. Jojo is a die-hard patriot, completely obsessed with serving his country. So he and his friend Yorkie join the Hitler Youth Camp run by Captain Klenzendorf, his assistant Finkel, and Fraulein Rahm, who's in charge of the girls. They give all the kids mini uniforms and small knives, then start training them, throwing grenades, digging trenches, reading maps, and learning how to survive gas attacks. That's for the boys, though. The girls only get lessons on how to bandage wounds, make beds, get married, and have babies. Jojo's good at stuff like describing Jews or burning books, but when it's time for hand-to-hand combat, he freezes and runs away. The older kids notice him right away. Then, during a killing exercise, they hand him a rabbit and tell him to kill it. Jojo pretends he's not scared, but he can't do it. He tries to set the rabbit free instead. One of the older boys grabs it and kills it in front of everyone, mocking Jojo for being a coward. From that day, they start calling him Jojo Rabbit. Hurt and embarrassed, Jojo runs off into the woods crying. While he's sitting under a tree, his imaginary friend Hitler shows up, telling him that rabbits are brave creatures. They go out every day to find carrots and stay alert to survive. Those words fire Jojo up. He runs back to camp full of energy where Captain Klenzendorf is showing the kids how to throw grenades. Jojo rushes over, grabs one from his hand, and sprints toward the woods to throw it, but it bounces off a tree and explodes right in his face. Everything goes blurry. He vaguely remembers being carried to the hospital and his mother, Rosie Betzler, sitting beside him. A few days later, he wakes up in his room, limping, and when he looks in the mirror, he sees his face covered in scars. Rosie comes in, hugs him, and tells him she's still here, even though his father disappeared and his sister Inga died. She dresses him back in his little uniform and takes him to the Hitler Youth headquarters. There, they find Klenzendorf feeding Finkel in a weird way. The captain had been demoted for negligence, but Rosie hits him in the stomach, smacks him with her shoe, and makes him promise to give Jojo something to do, even if it's not on the battlefield. So Klenzendorf assigns him to hang propaganda posters and deliver recruitment letters, and Jojo does it with total pride. One day, while working, Jojo sees his mom standing in front of a group of people hanging in the town square. When he asks what they did, she simply says, what they could. Later, when he gets home, he can't find her anywhere. Then he hears strange noises coming from his sister's room. He goes to check and notices a weird mark on the wall leading up to the ceiling. He stabs it with his knife, opens a hidden panel, and finds a small secret space. At the end of it, a teenage girl suddenly jumps out, Elsa Kor, and Jojo screams and runs away in terror. She catches him before he reaches the door, shoves him against the wall, and shows him she's got a knife. She admits she's Jewish and that Rosie is the one who's hiding her. She warns him that if he tells anyone, she'll say he and his mother are helping her, which means they'll both be killed. Once she goes back into hiding, Jojo runs to his room and talks to his imaginary friend Hitler again. He decides to negotiate with Elsa, grabs a kitchen knife and a pot for protection, and goes back to tell her she should find another place to hide. But she surprises him, takes the knife, and kicks him out of the room. He runs back to Hitler for advice, and they agree he should make her feel safe so she'll let her guard down. That night, when Rosie gets home, Jojo tells her he heard noises upstairs, but she laughs and says it's probably just rats. After putting him to bed, she goes to Elsa and warns her to be more careful, because if anything happens, she won't be able to choose her over her own son. Then she reminds Elsa that as long as there is someone alive out there, the Nazis haven't truly won. The next day, Jojo goes to the pool to help his leg heal and sees Klenzendorf and Finkel hanging out, terrified of Rosie. After she leaves, Jojo asks him what he should do if he ever finds a Jew. The captain says, call the Gestapo. They'll kill them and anyone helping them. Then Jojo asks how to even recognize one, and Klenzendorf shrugs, saying someone should really write a book about that. Back home, Jojo goes to Elsa again and tells her they're even now. She can't report him, and he can't report her. He asks her for info about Jews so he can write a book exposing them. Elsa agrees and tells him Jews are just like everyone else. He doesn't believe her, so she teases him, saying Jews are demons who love money and are allergic to food. Jojo realizes she's tricking him into bringing her food. When he starts talking about how superior the Aryan race is, Elsa grabs him, covers his mouth, and shakes him angrily, telling him there's no such thing as weakness among Jews. That night, Rosie lights the fireplace, drinks wine, and dances happily to music because the Allies just won in Italy and France is next. Jojo argues with her for being against her country, but she shuts him down and makes him eat. She doesn't touch her food though, so he assumes she's saving it for Elsa and eats the rest himself. Then he starts thinking how different things would be if his dad was still around. Rosie puts on his husband's jacket, draws a beard on her face with ash, and pretends to be his dad, yelling at Jojo for talking to his mom like that. Still pretending, she tells him to take care of her because she's doing her best, then turns up the music and dances with him. The next day, Jojo gives Elsa a pen and paper, asking her to draw where Jews live and where the women among them lay their eggs. Elsa starts drawing but avoids talking about her family. Instead, she tells him about her fiancé, Nathan, who's fighting with the resistance. In the end, she gives him a drawing of his own face and says, "The Jews live here." That gives Jojo a new idea. He writes her a fake letter, pretending to be Nathan, saying he's breaking up with her. He reads it out loud, and though she knows it's fake, her heart still shatters hearing those words in her fiancé's name. Elsa runs back to her hiding place crying. Jojo feels awful and regrets it immediately. So he writes another fake letter, saying Nathan was wrong and still loves her. Elsa thanks him and asks him to bring more letters later. After that, they play a game, naming famous people one by one, and Elsa wins when she says Jesus. Sometime later, Jojo and Rosie take a walk by the river. She tells him how people used to dance there, how the place was full of love and music, but Jojo doesn't understand any of it. She also tells him kids shouldn't care about politics. They should play, climb trees, and dance because dancing is freedom. But Jojo brushes her off, gets on his bike, and rides away, and Rosie just laughs and runs after him. When they reach the road, they see a truck full of defeated soldiers looking broken and miserable. Jojo goes back home upset, so Elsa tries to cheer him by telling funny fairy tales about her people. He starts getting closer to her and enjoys having her around, but later his imaginary friend Hitler yells at him, saying that no real German brain should ever be controlled by anyone else. After Jojo falls asleep, Rosie sits with Elsa for a while and tells her she's happy to see her growing into a woman because she never got to see that happen with her own daughter.
The next day, Jojo goes to the Hitler Youth headquarters and finds Captain Klenzendorf and Finkel talking very close, with clear tension between them. Jojo tells them he's writing a book exposing the Jews, but they just laugh at him. The captain shows him some strange uniform designs for him and Finkel, then gives Jojo a new mission, to collect scrap metal for the war. While walking down the street dressed like a robot, he sees his mom handing out anti-Nazi flyers and runs into his friend Yorkie, who's actually a soldier now. Jojo tells him he's hiding a Jewish girl, and Yorkie says he saw one in the forest and doesn't get why people make such a big deal about it. That makes Jojo start thinking. When he gets home, he visits Elsa and gives her some colored pencils he found, but reminds her that friendship between a Nazi and a Jew is forbidden. She tells him she doesn't even see him as a Nazi because he never hurt her. He's just a lonely boy who wants to belong somewhere. They argue, but when she notices she's all dirty, Jojo lets her take a bath and wear his sister Inga's clothes. They get ready to have dinner, but suddenly there's a knock at the door. Elsa runs to hide, and Jojo opens it to find a group of Gestapo officers led by Captain Hermann Diertz, followed closely by Klenzendorf and Finkel, who pretend they're just there to deliver a pamphlet to Jojo. The Gestapo starts searching the whole house, and Dirtz asks Jojo why his mother isn't home all day and why his knife isn't in his uniform. At that moment, Elsa comes out wearing Inga's clothes, pretending to be his sister. She says she took the knife because her brother was bothering her, so the Gestapo decide to check her room. Dirtz is still suspicious and asks for her ID. Elsa takes Inga's ID from the drawer and hands it to Klenzendorf. He asks for her birth date and she gives the right answer, so they let her go. But then Dirtz spots Jojo's notebook about Jews, opens it, and laughs at all the devilish drawings inside. Klenzendorf doesn't laugh, but Elsa looks deeply hurt when they read the part where Jojo listed all the ways he wished Nathan would die. When they find nothing suspicious, the Gestapo leave, and Klenzendorf goes too, after giving Elsa back the ID and handing Jojo his knife. Later, Elsa realizes she gave the wrong birth date, which means Klenzendorf covered for them. Jojo suggests she keeps living as Inga, since nobody knows she's dead. But Elsa, still upset by what she saw in his notebook, tells him they can't be friends anymore. Hitler, the imaginary friend, yells at Jojo for trying to be friends with Elsa and thinking she's good, telling him to focus on his real priorities. While Jojo goes out to get some food, he sees his mom hanging in the town square among other executed people. He completely breaks down, runs to her, crying, and holds her leg trying to tie her shoe but can't do it. Hours later, still in shock, he goes back home holding his knife, full of anger, thinking Elsa is the reason his mom died. He goes to attack her, but she grabs his hand before he stabs her. He only scratches her, then collapses and starts crying. Elsa feels sorry for him and comforts him, telling him she already knew Rosie was part of the resistance, but didn't know details, and that his father was fighting with them too. His mother just didn't tell him to keep him safe. She also tells him her family was taken to a concentration camp, and now they only have each other. Jojo starts going out to scavenge food from the trash, watching the city fall apart more every day. He and Elsa settle into a routine, eating, reading the fake letters he writes, pretending to be Nathan. One day, chaos erupts in the city as the Allies begin a massive attack after Hitler's suicide. Jojo runs into Yorkie, who's carrying weapons, and now the army is sending children to fight. Jojo tells him the Jewish girl at his house feels like his girlfriend now, but he's scared, because that's forbidden. Yorkie tells him he's met Russians and Japanese people, and they're way worse than Jews. Then Fraulein Rom finds them, gives Yorkie a weapon, and gives Jojo a youth uniform jacket so nobody accidentally shoots him. Suddenly, a bomb explodes, and Jojo gets knocked down, watching the chaos. Kids, old men, everyone fighting, even Klenzendorf and Finkel, in their weird uniforms. Terrified, Jojo hides inside an abandoned building until the battle ends. When he comes out, he sees the Americans taking down Nazi flags and putting up their own, celebrating victory. Soviet soldiers are arresting every Nazi, including Dirtz and the Gestapo. When they see Jojo's jacket, they think he's one too and take him with them. Among the prisoners, he sees Klenzendorf, who tells him he's a good boy and helps him escape by pulling off his jacket, spitting on him, and pretending he's Jewish so the Soviets let him go. Jojo watches as Klenzendorf is taken away to be executed. On his way home, he runs into Yorkie, who tells him he's going to see his mom for a hug and says Jojo's girlfriend is free now. That hits him hard. He doesn't want Elsa to leave, so he runs home fast. He decides to lie to her, saying Germany won the war, so she won't try to escape. But when he looks at his notebook with the drawing of his mom and the rabbit in the cage, he writes a new letter as Nathan, saying he has a plan to get her out of the city. Then Elsa confesses that Nathan died of tuberculosis last year, but she likes the letters Jojo writes. Jojo admits he loves her, but she tells him she loves him like a brother. He agrees and helps her get ready to leave. Hitler appears again, disappointed in him, trying to convince him to change his mind, but Jojo finally stands up to him and kicks him out the window. Elsa hesitates to go outside, but Jojo encourages her until she steps through the door. Just then, a car passes by with the American flag. Realizing he lied, Elsa slaps him. And then, not knowing what else to do, they both start dancing together, celebrating their freedom. And that's the end of today's movie.